Welcome to Comically Comics, your one-stop listen to all things comics. We're talking books, movies, TV shows, video games, and more. I must forewarn you, though, we are a spoilercast, and what that means is we consider all properties, past, future, and present, to be valid, and we will spoil the hell out of them. I'm your host, Michael, along with my two co-hosts, Richard and Jeremy, and with all that being said, let's get started. All right, it is Sunday, October 8th, and we are here because the premiere of Loki was this past Thursday evening.
Woo!
Woo! That's what we're talking about today. Loki, Season 2, Episode 1, The Return, and of course, as always, Whelmings. Jeremy, I hope you've seen this.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
Yeah. But I was pleasantly whelmed. You know, it's first episode. I don't know though. I really enjoy this show. So it was a pleasant, like the top part of pleasantly whelmed, almost overly whelmed, just because it just started off with a bang and just really kept you going. So it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Richard, what about you?
Yeah, I have to echo Jeremy. I really like the show. I'm pleasantly whelmed. Some of the camera work in this episode's really great. Like they actually use like hand cams to like pan and whip around to do comedic timing things. And the shot where they're walking down the hallway and character named Obi that's introduced in this episode throws the like handbook and Loki catches it. Like
right?
That was a slick shot. I just love that.
That was really cool.
I was like, that's so cool to me. To me, I'm like, yay, we're back. We're back to some good Disney Plus movie or shows. I mean,
yeah,
pleasantly whelmed.
Yeah, so I almost looked over to my wife and was like, how many times do you think they took that to make that shot? Because there's no telling what that book does up in the air, just flailing about. You know what I mean? Like, how many times do you throw a book and it stays together?
Right. Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I was like, there must be a blooper reel where they like threw it 30 times and they finally got it.
Right? Yeah, I think this was first of all, I almost wonder, and I have a question to pose after I give my whelmings, but I'm like pleasantly, almost overly whelmed. This is very exciting. It's very exciting to see. Love Tom Hiddleston as Loki as always, and Owen Wilson as Mobius is great as well. Now we've got this new character, Obi or
Boris.
Or Boris, yes, thank you. Which is the title of this first episode. And he seems great. I love him. So I hope they keep him around, especially since it's like they're building kind of a ragtag bunch to go up against a new villain, it looks like almost. But yeah, I'm right there with y'all. Pleasantly whelmed. Really hoping that the series either sticks with this or just keeps going up.
Yeah.
And my question is, with saying all that, is that like, do y'all think that I saw Tom Hiddleston's name being like part of the production, like the whatever production producers, executive producer, whatever the case is, on this? Do y'all think that makes a difference?
Maybe. It depends. Sometimes they do that because he is putting input into what his character is doing, because he has had such a like strong connection to the character for so long now. It's what, 10 plus years, I'll just say. And he probably, this is like new territory because this isn't from like the comics. They're loosely basing certain things from the comics, but for the most part, it's the Wild West right now. And I think he's like, well, I feel like Loki would do this in this situation, and that may earn him that title for the credits, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, like I don't know what all kind of goes into that. I know another show that we watch called Only Murders in the Building, and that was the first one that I really noticed that, like, in that the main characters are executive producers as well. So yeah, I mean, it may be where like he gives, like what Richard said, like gives his input on it, and if he does, I mean, that's really cool that he's able to kind of work with that and be able to kind of grow it. And I meant to mention this one thing earlier too, whenever I was giving my whelming, is right whenever the show was started, I don't know that we watched the first season with our kids, but like it was just one of those, like they had to be in there, like, and it's not bad one for the kids to watch to me.
No.
But my oldest, he said, Daddy, I remember, when I first saw Loki, he was, bad guy in the Avengers and everything. I was like, yeah. And he's like, so is he a good guy now? I was like, he's Loki, so we'll just go with that.
When he wants to be.
Yeah.
What suit's Loki wearing, Daddy? Is this a whole new Batman thing again?
What would be funny is if you watch the first season and it's like, who's that? And you're like, that's Loki. Well, then who's that? Well, that's also Loki. And well, who's that? Well, that's Loki as an alligator.
Right. Yes. Cool. All right. So, quick rundown of the episode. Major things going down with the time stream. We've got so many branches that the time loom can't keep up with it, and they're going to have to shut things off to kind of preserve themselves. However, Loki is caught within this like time paradox where he's shifting through time and the TVA, which we'll get more into depth in that and how that kind of answers questions that we had at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And so basically the whole episode is how to preserve the TVA, but at the same time also stabilize Loki in the present day time. I think the first biggest thing was, when we left off, we had no idea where Loki was because they didn't know who Mobius didn't know who he was, B-15 didn't know who he was. And we got the question answered because a lot of people were thinking that it was a whole nother TVA in a different timeline.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. It's the same timeline.
Yep.
So one thing that just hit me that was interesting is, so we find out that he's in the past in TVA.
Yes.
Whenever he comes in, or whenever the episode first starts, we eventually find out he's bouncing from present to past at that time.
Yes.
But what's his name? Owen Wilson. Mobius, there it was. Doesn't remember meeting him in the past. But yet, when we get to OB, he's remembering things as it's happening with Loki in the past.
Right.
So is that like Mobius got his memory wiped at some point?
Yes. So one of my theories is that OB, which by the way, he's Short Round from Indiana Jones. I don't know if y'all knew that. He's he just recently won an Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. He played the dad that he's also Data from the Goonies. Or Data. His name is Ki Hui Kwan. Anyway, I love him. I love his childlike energy in this episode. He just seems so happy to help everybody out. But I think he's the one and only person in the TVA that has not had his memory wiped. And that's why Mobius can't remember Loki when Loki goes back in time. But Ouroboros can remember it, but Mobius can't.
Okay, that does answer some questions I had then, because there's some things that I noticed or whatever throughout the episode that I was like, is this going to pay off at the very end of it? Or is this going to just be a huge timey-wimey bullshit mess?
It is. So like... One of the things I love about this episode and why it's called Ouroboros. So those that don't know, if you're a Full Metal Alchemist fan and an anime that I love, you'll be very familiar with an Ouroboros. But an Ouroboros is a symbol for a snake eating its own tail. It makes a complete loop. And this episode has so much symbolism in an Ouroboros, with the creation of Obi's nickname to the creation of the temporal aura extractor. And honestly, we probably saw the end of this season in this episode, because I personally think that the person that pruned Loki is Loki. So I think like episode 6 Loki is pruning episode 1 Loki in that scene.
Yeah.
And that is completing a loop again. So yeah, there's a lot of symbolism. I also feel like, because they keep talking about how like time doesn't work that way in the TVA. I think the TVA is like some sort of time loop. And that's why they keep saying like time doesn't work that way here. But anyway.
Well, and even like off podcast, I said something to you about like, what if that's what the MCU is? And like, what if we sit there and, we eventually get to the X-Men and stuff like that. And like, they don't do a full reboot or whatever the case is. And we just wind up right back at Iron Man 1. So like from here, like you could sit there and watch everything and then eventually they'll just stop. And that's where you pick up with Iron Man 1 and then you just rewatch it all over again.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do it like the MCU that way, but like the way the TVA is like this pocket out of time. So time works differently there, but I don't know. We'll see. It could be that way, but being that they gave us that kind of clue today, because also we learn that Kang, which I love that, by the way, you mentioned it, but I love the fact that they reveal that what we thought was a variant timeline is in fact just the past. and Kang was just loud and proud when
Right?
like showing that he is the ruler of the TVA, and then at some point came along and covered it all up with the timekeepers. So what I'm thinking, because sorry, I'm just blurting out all my theories, but like I kind of wonder that war room, the weird like triangle table that had the mural of the timekeepers, and then Loki pruned it away to reveal Kang's face. I'm wondering, was that the original recipe Council of Kang's war room? Because you see, like, there were like what, 3 chairs per side of that triangle. I can't remember how many chairs, but it seemed like more people sat there.
I mean, it was a big table for just like 2 or 3 people to sit at it.
Yeah, exactly. One guy was
Well,
taking a nap.
you had like your heads. It seemed like you had, the
Right.
3 heads at each triangle, but then you had the one guy that was sleeping off to the side.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think more people could have sat at it than just the 3 heads.
Because like what I'm getting at is Kang, or excuse me, they're all Kang. So when I say Kang, I don't necessarily mean like Quantum Mania Kang, but He Who Remains mentions about how like when they first discovered the multiverse, they started traveling and then they met each other, like other variants of himself, and they were like, oh hey, nice hair, nice shoes, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they like formed an alliance, but then war eventually broke out. So I'm wondering if like the TVA was a creation of the Council of Kangs, but then like infighting happened, and then that's when the war broke out and all this stuff.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
I mean, they even point to it in this episode when they're out in the hallway. Mobius and Loki are out in the hallway, and they're starting to point to one of the pictures that's up on the wall, one of the really long ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Kangs fighting each other right before the 3 lizard people. I can't remember the name.
Timekeepers.
Yes, timekeepers. Thank you. But yeah, I'm glad they started off by answering that question that everybody had. Like, that was a big, huge debate of like, is it the same people or is it a whole different timeline? And the whole it being Kang threw people off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think you saying that Mobius has his like mind wiped. That's pretty cool too, because one of my notes was, did Mobius go back in time? And the reason I wrote that down was because different recalls to him and Obi meeting, like how Mobius would sit there and say, oh yeah, I stayed around. He's like, oh no, you immediately left.
Yeah.
It's like there's 2 alternating things there. It looked like Mobius didn't know who Obi was. Like, by the way he was acting at first, he was like, yeah, this is, and he just waited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I seriously think he didn't recall, and he was just sort of like leading Obi on to answer those questions. But I don't know if you remember this, but when I keep wanting to say Morbius. God damn it. Mobius. When Mobius is talking to Renslayer, not in this episode, but the previous season. Remember when he's like talking with her and he keeps putting the cup and she's like, use the coasters, it leaves watermarks. And he's like, well, they were here before. And she's like, well, you left them. You caused them. So I think he's been having his mind wiped for however long he's been there. Eons.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think something happens in resets. I think Renslayer, because that's the past, I think Renslayer knew all along. I need to rewatch season 1 because I don't remember much about her. I think she knew all along that Kang was running the TVA, because we hear that recording of her and Kang talking in the past.
That's what I was going to say. Like, she should know because of that recording and stuff like that. However, it was like Miss Minutes that sat there and made her realize.
Okay, was it?
Yeah, Miss Minutes came in and told her to leave.
Well, then this is where it's going to get timey-wimey bullshit. Then that recording is still from the past, but that's Ravonna traveling back in time to talk with Kang, probably, if that's the case. Like, in other words, future Renslayer, wherever she is at that point, will travel back to talk with past Kang.
Maybe.
That's the only way that it makes sense.
Or he wiped it.
Yeah. He could have wiped her mind, but I doubt it. I don't know. Anyway.
That would that would make it a little weird as far as like the whole love story and stuff like that. But for He Who Remains to sit there and be at the end of the time and not near Renslayer and not trying to get her there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe he's the one that had to wipe her mind.
Maybe her in the comic books, she gets like like she's always destined to be killed. Like, that's the whole like thing with Kang and her is like he loves her and she loves him. but she always dies somehow in every sort of variant time stream. So, like, to sort of save her, he like splits her into multiple parts, and that's how he kind of like runs into her, and she always like falls in love with him again. It's very Doctor Who-ish. I don't know if they'll be doing something like that for this show, but anyway.
Sounds like she's a Holocrox.
What?
A Horcrux?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I thought we were.
I figured Jeremy would sit there and like, correct me on this.
Well, it just sounded like we were talking about. I was like talking about Nazis over here or something. Like Holocrox.
I was close, for God's sake. Jesus Christ.
I thought he said holocron, and I was like, are we talking about Star Wars? What's going on here?
No, I at least said Crux in there. Jeez. God bless. Didn't realize the freaking
shaming.
The Potter nerddom was so bad. Fuck me.
It's a toxic fandom. You got to watch out for those Potter heads.
Oh, yeah.
Potter.
You didn't know that's what they were called?
Buddy, I couldn't even say Horcrux for a second. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know y'all are called Potterheads?
Oh, that's funny.
That's fucking great.
I'll tell you what was funny too is the whole scenes of his time slipping and Mobius like going from like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, please stop doing this.
Yeah.
I can't watch it anymore.
This had a lot of funny moments. I love he scares the shit out of Casey, the guy like buffing the floor. Oh, yeah. At one point he like comes back in and he's like, oh, Casey, and he's like, oh. I just thought that was funny. I love the shot that I was referring to when I was giving my whelm. I love when they're in that elevator. And yeah, they're like, it doesn't look that bad. And he's like, well, what do you think? And it just pans over to a third person in the elevator. And she's just like, and it goes back. That was fucking hilarious.
Uh-huh.
The weird temporal suit that Mobius has to wear, and it's got like a crack, and he's like staring up at it. And he's like, what do I do? He just puts duct tape on it. It's so funny, man.
I hope that OB stays around.
Yeah,
that was one of the things my wife said too. She's like, he's such a great addition to this show. Like
he really
he's
is
just a great character.
He does a lot of stuff for the TVA. So part of me is worried that he's someone nefarious that they may reveal, like he's a variant of Kang or something like that.
Oh wow.
I doubt they would do that, but I'm just saying, like, because he said he wrote the handbook for the TVA. He mentions that. He also knows how to like do like retrofit things onto the loom. He built that I had to write it down because I knew I wasn't going to remember it. Temporal aura extractor. Like he's very fucking smart. I hope he's not a villain that they're just hiding until later, but we'll see.
No, surely not.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Like I'm hoping he's not, but some other funny things. He's so great at like comedic delivery. I love when he's like, "You have 1 hour to get this done." And then like bang, and he's like, "You have 5 minutes to get this done." That shit's so funny. I don't know if y'all caught this, but when they're walking to the room, whatever that has the blast shields to get to the temporal loom, the floor reads danger. Temporal radiation levels accelerate exponentially beyond this threshold. Likelihood of spaghettification increases 7,000%. Proceed with caution.
So speaking about that room and like the costume that Mobius has to wear and stuff like that, my thought is somebody's worn, one of them at some point has worn that costume before. Like it looked like that room had been deserted. Like nobody's been in it since God knows how long. And Obi only goes in there to do his stuff because Miss Minutes was taking care of it.
Yeah.
So like nobody's been in that room. There's no reason for anybody to be out there in a suit. And even so, like the suits don't look like they make it.
No, they don't.
That one's got a crack in it though, for whatever reason it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more of like we're eventually going to see that suit before it had a crack in it, or see how the crack got in that suit, especially as much as they like emphasized the crack on the suit and made a joke out of it and stuff.
Yeah, probably. You mentioned Miss Minutes. There's something like I know she was like in on it, but from the trailer we see her at one point like during the Victor Timely era, and she's like grown giant and like chasing after a bunch of people. Like there's something weird going on with her too that I'm very curious. Will they reveal that?
I hope so, because that's another big question. Like, where did she go, and how far in cahoots is it? Was she with He Who Remains, or
Mhm.
was she with like actual Kang, or like how does all like what's the lowdown on all that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird because I'm like, is she not just a program? Like, what's going on here?
No, definitely more than that. I do have a question. Why does Loki get to hold on to the like stopwatch, but not the pruning one?
Yeah, he loses it though. He went to
Not
yeah, he did.
no.
When I was rewatching it today, Obi gives it to him. Owen Wilson has it. He gives it to Loki along with the stopwatch. Loki time slips and he drops the pruning wand, and then
Yes.
Right.
Mobius picks it back up,
Yes.
Right.
and then he's in the future at that point.
Yes.
Well, no, but what Michael's saying is why couldn't he keep the stick with him, but he was able to keep the stopwatch with him?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry. I don't know, because reasons.
Yeah.
Because they need
We wouldn't have a storyline if we
yeah,
did,
exactly.
if we didn't.
They need They need the mystery of who pruned Loki in the future, which is it's going to be future Loki because Sylvie's there in the elevator. She isn't surprised to see him there, so it's clearly going to be his future self that pruned him. I'm like, this is like not that big of a mystery to me.
I'm gonna assume that Loki that we saw knew that Sylvie was coming from that elevator, because he wasn't surprised to see her.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, he was in the future.
When he also seemed very suspicious, like he knew something was was coming there. Like,
Yeah, he looked suspicious because he didn't know what to expect because like the TVA was abandoned at that point.
Right.
And it was the future because you saw the like skin question mark
Yeah.
Right.
and the dust. But when he went around the corner, he looked surprised. He almost had like a tear in his eye or something when he saw Sylvie.
Right. Well, he stood there long enough, even though he knew like the time was up, that he needed to prune himself. He stood there long enough especially with the phone ring. I don't know what the deal with that is either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he stood there long enough to see who was in the elevator. He didn't help them, but stood there long enough to see who was there. And so if he's in the future at that point in time, does he know that that's Sylvie in there because him and Sylvie had teamed up throughout whenever? Yes. So now he's got the memories because he's in the future.
I see what you're saying. Yes, I do think.
Oh, Lee.
Yeah. I told you this is going to be... we're going to strap in, boys. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yes, I see what you're saying now. Yeah. They're obviously going to team up because...
Right.
They have to defeat He Who Remains or Victor Timely, who the fuck they're fighting in this season.
Evil TVA.
Yeah, evil TVA. Yeah, there's definitely going to be an evil version of the TVA and a good... there's going to be like a civil war of the TVA, if you will, because fucking... I wrote down X5 is super sus and him and General Dox like have a really creepy relationship.
Yeah, I was almost expecting them to kiss or something at that one scene. I was like, this is awkward.
Yeah,
what's going on here?
What if that's her son?
I think
we got a whole new Game of Thrones thing going on.
She is. She's Lady Aaron from And honestly, I think that was meant to invoke that scene because even B-15 gives like a look like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. I'm seeing a temporal hole somewhere where people are getting pushed out of.
I'm my own grandpa.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know, just going back to the whole memory thing, like that's what I wonder, like does present day Loki when he go in the future get like memories of what's already happened because he's in the future then?
Yes, probably. Because the weather, I don't know, because I don't know if it's just, I don't know, to be honest with you, until we, because, well, I mean, like, there's multiple ways to go about this is the reason why, and for the time being, I'm just going to say yes, until they show us more of how time works with this show. It's fucking confusing. It'll make you go cross-eyed.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be fun watching Jeremy deal with all this. Especially after he fucked with me about that Harry Potter word. I'm going to be spiteful about that now. All right. So upon my second watching, I noticed that Loki is pruned from behind. Did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not catch that the first time around. I was just like, oh shit, I'm just glad he got pruned because I figured it was going to happen, but I just didn't see it actually coming. So
at first I thought like something went wrong, but then like at the last second, you see the little glowy part of the stick.
Yeah.
Like
coming in from behind him.
Weird cigarette lighter, like the old ones in the cars. It kind of looks like that.
Well, at first I thought Sylvie pruned him. I thought she came through the elevator and that's what happened. But no, no, I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else it could be other than Loki because he's the only one who's going to know that he's there at that exact moment to prune him.
Well, Sylvie knew. Well, I mean, I guess she said, "Oh, there you are," but she knew where she was going, so it could be Mobius as well.
Maybe, but I doubt it.
B-15, Obi. I mean,
all I was gonna say is that like Mobius has got to be like thanking Loki for saving his skin because there was no way he was going to be getting back past those blast doors.
I know.
If Loki hadn't popped back through there.
I love. He's like. He tells OB about like he's like I'm gonna hoof it. You've never gonna seen someone hoof it as hard as you can, and then he does it, and it's just like at a snail's pace. And my wife was like, "This is not hoofing. What are you doing? Go faster."
That's exactly what I was saying too, and I felt like I was like, Obi, what are you doing? You're killing the son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. And you know you are. So maybe he is a villain because I mean he was pretty cold hearted about it. Yeah. He was like, "You got a countdown. That's it, bro."
Yeah.
Red button pushed. And then he even said to himself, he's like, "Oh, he's not going to make it." Like,
yeah, exactly.
Fucking help him or something. Jesus.
Pull that massive tube. Like,
I know that too. I loved everything about that suit. It was just this big, bulky, goofy looking suit and giant air tube. And I don't know.
That's basically like an old timey diving suit.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. I think that's what it's supposed to invoke is that kind of thing. The reason why I love Loki and this second season is like, I don't know if y'all have played it, but I love Portal and Portal 2, and specifically Portal 2 because the TVA, like the aesthetics, that like retro futurism kind of technology that they have going on reminds me so much of Portal 2, and especially the like goofy posters on the wall. Like I mentioned, the spaghettification stuff, and I just love it. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Never played it. Sorry.
You should play it. It's quite fun.
We're starting off talking about how rough freaking Sylvie looked there at the end of the movie. I know she just got done killing, He Who Remains, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's like where we're supposed to be coming in at. But she don't look the same at all. Like, she looks totally different.
Yeah. She
does.
Me,
anyways.
No, yeah, she does. I think, well, like we mentioned off podcast, but she was, during the filming of the first one, she was breastfeeding because they talked about that like behind the scenes where they built her costume to where it had removable panels so that she could breastfeed during filming, like in between takes and stuff like that. So I think the second time around, she's just like worn out for raising a child, probably lack of sleep. The joke I was going to make is just eating from like everything from McDonald's because that's just not.
Yeah.
I know it's like 1980s McDonald's was 1982, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it's like the 80s McDonald's, but still, like eating that much McDonald's cannot be good for you.
Because there's a chance it may have a face.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing I appreciate that they did with that is they said specifically it is a variant timeline.
Yes.
I hope they start doing that from here on forward so we at least know that this isn't the sacred timeline. It's just a variant timeline.
Yeah, it's a branched timeline.
Yeah.
And that's what the Loom was doing, was trying to take all the branched timelines to form the one sacred timeline.
Yeah.
So, cool. So Sylvie's in 1982. So that means they're going to have to go outside of the main timeline into a branched one to go find her.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting.
Yep. The other thing that I had down was just that people have been talking about it. She lands in Broxton, Oklahoma, which is apparently from the comic books. After Thor comes back to life, he builds a city of Asgard, like the new city of Asgard. Like he builds it, I think, like 1 foot off the ground or something like that.
Yeah.
In Broxton, Oklahoma.
That's interesting because I want to say it's around the time when like Sylvie Lushton was introduced because Loki is the one who like kind of gave Sylvie her powers in the comic books or whatever, and I think it was around that time because her first appearance is around the dark reign period.
Okay. And I want to say that happens like he builds New Asgard before Dark Reign. Is Dark Reign where like all the Avengers get like Asgardian weapons? Is that it?
Dark Reign, I think, is when we have like that whole like Dark Avengers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but there's like a specific.
I didn't read the story.
Oh, okay. There's a specific arc with Thor and like I don't know. It's like the death of Thor basically, but like all the Avengers like Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, I forget who else, but a bunch of them. Black Widow I know gets one, but they all get like uber Asgardian Uru weapons that are all like badass looking and they fight, comic book stuff. Anyway, I didn't read it, but I heard about it. I think it's around that time, which is also during the Dark Reign of like the Dark Avengers and all that. Anyway.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to do some more looking into that then, because I'd be curious to know if they're gonna like bring some of that Sylvie's comic book origins and stuff like that into the TV show because she's known as a Loki, not Sylvie Lushton. She's just taking up the name Sylvie.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious.
Yeah. I wonder if she'll take that name
Lushton
when she works at McDonald's, because in the trailer we see that she's working there. I'm assuming
a horrendous haircut.
Yeah, she has like a mullet. Stop. Okay, I this is a PSA. Stop bringing the mullet back. It's fucking awful. Stop it. It's not cool. You don't look cool. You look like an asshole.
It's just going to get replaced by the bowl cut as soon as we get.
Well, that's
what's
dumb
his
too.
name? I'm just saying. That's bet that don't happen. Come on now.
With some history doesn't need to be repeated.
Yes. Yes.
And then after the bowl cut, we'll get the butt cut back. We'll have a bunch of Taylor Thomases running around.
Are you okay over there tonight?
With those holocruxes and everything.
I corrected myself that time. I got it right.
Yeah, I think I've seen a butt cut out in the wild. So it may actually be coming back already.
I'm just saying.
Oh, jeez.
Grunge music as well, which the Batman helped bring that back.
Yeah.
What else y'all got for this episode?
Not much. I kind of just blurbed all of my stuff out all at once. The other funny note I just had is I like when they're running through the hallway and Mobius mentions like, "Hey, a piece just fell off this. Is that okay?" Like, the comedy in this episode was quite fun.
Yes.
It felt like everything was back, honestly. Like, it felt like everything was back and just on point.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but I'm so terrified to say that, honestly.
Yeah. After Secret Invasion, yeah, I'm a little gun shy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And that's why I was sitting there, throwing out there, like, does him being part executive producer have anything to do with it? Because like, to me, it just shows like a passion almost, or a love or whatever for that character, and like wanting the best for this series is kind of like how it comes across to me. But I don't know shit either.
Yeah. Was he executive producer in the first season? Because I just attribute it to being that the people that just made the first season are back making, I don't know. I haven't really delved into it. We started the podcast right around when season 2 had ended. Anyway,
Season 1 had ended.
Or excuse me, yes, season 1 had ended.
Yeah.
So I didn't do all of my like run times and who made what and all that stuff. I need to go back and look.
You got that though?
No, absolutely not. No, that can fuck off. I didn't do a total run time. No one cares about it, so I'm not doing it.
This episode did seem short. I will say that because I was like doing a fast speed 10-second rewatch, and it seemed pretty short, like honestly. But there was a lot packed into it though too. So I was cool with the timing. It just seemed short for what it was, honestly.
And it was funny too. Like my youngest, like whenever it finished, he's like, "Oh, so it's kind of short." Like he was thinking it was going to be like the whole movie. I was like, "Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's probably about like 45 minutes, and just to show like what my boys are into. He goes, "Oh, okay, so like the first half of soccer." I was like, "Actually, yes, that's right."
All right then.
Yeah.
Better balance than mine. Mine's like, all right, how many Ben 10 episodes is that?
Oh man, Ben 10 was great, or is great. It's still going. I don't even know.
He was showing me the other day. There's like comic pasta. There's like 16 seasons of that thing. Of like different ages and shit like
Yeah.
that. And I'm just like, and then they do time travel and stuff as well to bring it back to Loki. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck's going on here, son. You're going to clue me in because
Michael's
who? Exactly. Yeah. All right. I think we kind of went over as far as like where we thought things were going as well. Yeah. Unless y'all got something else you want to add to that.
I do. I think something because we've seen it in the trailer. We actually saw it at the end of the Ant-Man movie, Quantumania. I was trying to remember the name of it. Something's up with that temporal loom. I don't know what, but we see Victor Timely like unveil it at the end of Quantumania in the like mid-credit stinger. So I don't know what that means for this show, but something's going on with that.
Who do they have to get to the time loom and like actually set it up? And that's where the crack from the suit came from.
Maybe, yeah, maybe they're the ones who installed the time loom originally. Yeah, that could be a thing.
Are we excited about Victor Timely? Honestly,
no. I'm like because unless he like transforms into Kang, I don't fucking care. Like. I was excited to see He Who Remains because I was dying to see like Kang, but I was kind of let down. I liked Jonathan Majors' performance. It's still on the fence of whether he's in the MCU or not at this point, but I want to see Kang. Basically, is just what I want to see. But I want Kang from the comics, like what we read, the bravado of like he's just he's just like, you're all assholes. I'm the conqueror of time. Like, fuck you kind of thing. Which we got in Quantumania. So I want to see more of that. I got a feeling Victor Timely is going to be more like obviously he's invoking like the Nikola Tesla kind of like era, Thomas Edison, if you will, which I know is blasphemy to say because supposedly Edison stole from Tesla. But anyway. Yeah, so I don't think he'll be Kang, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I am sort of excited to see what they're going to do with this character, but I don't know. We'll see.
I was going to say, because he's a baddie in his own like times that he's done stuff.
Right. I like the Kang with the goofy purple helmet. I don't like when he's Rama Tut or what's the other one? The whisper talking that he did at the end.
Immortus.
Immortus. I don't like when he's Immortus. I like Kang, like proper Kang. He doesn't really have any cool stories. I just think he's an asshole, and I just kind of enjoy it because it's just funny to me.
So you're bringing up Quantumania. I do have a question. Like, because Jeremy brought something up that I still remember it to this day. That it just dawned on me when he said it. I was like, holy shit, he's right. Are the Ant-Man crew, are they in their right time strand, branch, whatever?
I have no idea. I'm going to say yes, because if they weren't, they would have said something or gave us some sort of clue, but who knows?
Like Jeremy said, the table's standing up. Like when they get thrown back in there, everything is where it should be. The table's standing up. Like there's no, and everything that was in that room got sucked in. Table, everything got sucked in. And so like they just wind up in a room with all their shit back where it's supposed to be.
I don't know what to tell you. Until then, it's like your other theory. Until we know more, I have to just say yes, it is. But
this time slipped in there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe it was the ants, the super intelligent ants that. What's his name? But they put everything back together.
Well, I think the other part of me bringing that up is like the rumor is that at the end of the Marvels, Monica Rambeau will be in a different time branch.
Oh, cool.
That's the rumor.
I hadn't heard that, but cool.
As far as like in a in-scene credit. So I wonder if that's what they're setting up is like heroes strung across time branches, which would then bring Loki back into it. He's got to start plucking them out. to the right, present day, or whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. And that would make sense too if they need to recruit variants of other heroes to join them. Then you have people already there being like, whatever, I don't know. Monica Rambeau's like, hey, Peggy Carter, Captain America, come with me. And then, she needs whatever. She's recruited her. And then we have this whole lineup of Avengers / variant Avengers.
Multiversal Avengers.
Yes.
Didn't we kind of get that already?
Yes, we did. But
in Spider-Man across the
I thought you were talking about in What If.
That was tame compared to what we could have, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Tame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it is very very copying itself. I'm trying to take all this in. I'm trying to think, but it could be. It would be cool. I don't know. I'm kind of just like, honestly, after Secret Invasion, I'm just kind of like, do whatever. I don't fucking care. I really enjoying Loki, so that's a plus. But I'm really kind of, like I said, gun shy after Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah, and after like the end of this episode, it went over like the next thing to play was Secret Invasion. I was like, nope.
Right?
Yeah.
It came up, and both me and my wife were like, ugh, why would you recommend that?
That's what I was wondering, because like it did it twice, and I was like, does this not alternate? Why would it not show me Loki season 1?
This is really trying to get people to watch that so that maybe they can get their money back.
Yeah, please watch it.
Why wouldn't it show me Quantum Mania?
I was gonna say that. Yep.
Come on.
Yep. I don't know.
All right. Y'all got anything else?
No, I'm good.
Yep, that's it for me.
It's a short one, but I think it's enough coverage.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what's coming up next week. Do you know how many episodes are in this season, like, at all?
6.
6? That's it?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Short season.
Yep.
Dang. Why the good ones got to be short?
It was 6 last season as well.
Yeah.
Probably because they throw a lot of money at it, because you got like a lot of pretty big actors, and it seems, at least as far as I can tell, for this first episode, the special effects, like the VFX and everything, are on point. Nothing looked bad.
Yeah.
It's all real sets too, and a lot of things, like I know the windows are like probably like blue screened or green screened to show the ever expanding TVA outside, but all that's real sets, and they're running around on real sets. And anyway, I'm just gonna say real sets one more time. Real sets.
Yeah, we didn't hit on that, but there was nothing visual effects wise that I was like, "Oh, that didn't look good."
Yeah.
Like the loom looked good. The pulling Loki out looked fine. All that jazz.
Yeah, honestly, Mobius going towards the loom looked fantastic, and even all of Tom Hiddleston doing his like time slipping looked great.
Yeah.
Like there were times where when I was rewatching it on my second watch today, I like pause it and kind of like try to do like a slow-mo play through so I could see the different positions he was making. Anyway, it was really cool looking.
The shit coming off of Mobius as he's like walking to and from, like that didn't look wonky or nothing like that. So cool. I think solid start.
Yeah, definitely.
Which means it's downhill from here.
Oh fuck no. No.
I hope not.
Yeah, me either.
I want that. Let's do the uphill climb. Let's do it.
Exactly.
All right, Jeremy. Till we get to the top of the hill, where can they find you at?
They can find me on Twitch under the handle Night Fury GTO. It's Night with a K, and you can find me here.
Awesome. Richard, where can they find you at?
If you want to contact me directly, I have an X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram, and a Threads. My handle is Night Curry, night like day and night, and Curry with a K. If you want to contact us directly, we have a Gmail. Our Gmail is comicallycomicspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to check us out on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics Podcast. And if you want to check us out on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics with an X.
Awesome.
Woo.
You can find me on Instagram and eBay at 22_comics. You can also find me on YouTube at 22comics. Thank you all so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did making it. With all that being said, say goodbye, pothead.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, pothead. Bye. Bye.
Wingardium Leviosa. Look, stop. You're going to take someone's eye out. Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
You do it then if you're so clever. Go on.